I prefer to stay poor rather than incentivizing people putting money in a company that is clearly not sustainable.
He says, what I would tell any entrepreneur that thinks they're going to disrupt, you have to be 20 times better, at least.
For sure, now there is a lot of competition from all the exchanges which basically do exactly the same thing. Now,
You mean FTX?
FTX, exactly. FTX is coming out and they brand themselves with zero commission crypto and so on.
It's not sustainable. When you look at that marketing, when you look at all those campaigns, when you look at all those bailouts for the failed companies, let's be honest, they didn't have any business model either, like BlockFi, etc. Like, what the hell, man? 8% or 10% API on your coins. Like, I would really like to ask like some of those executives from FTX, like, what's your business model, please? Explain to me how this is sustainable.
No, I think you should ask. I think you should ask the YouTube guys that are advertising it. They would be helpful.
Dude, I'm like, this is so disappointing to me. You watch all those creators, even those that you respect, and they ended up like taking the sponsorships from FTX. By the way,
that's my new red flag. That's my new red flag. You see the FTX sponsorship? It's over. I'm unsubscribing 100%. I don't want to know anything anymore.
No, I want to hear your reasoning behind it.
About the YouTube space, things were all, the market was up, everyone looked good, everyone looked smart, we all look like geniuses, even the YouTubers. And this is the problem, and I believe this is what especially Arnaldo is solving, that these people are giving financial advice, but all they do is say, this is not financial advice, do your own due diligence. But they go on, more than presenting information. Presenting information is one thing, I love it, that's why YouTube was great. There was information I didn't know about, and that I was able to get, I know, at the tip of my fingers. But they started giving financial advice, and then you say not financial advice. Okay, things went down, things you're preaching. I mean, I call out Tamash all the time. I remember last fall saying, oh, bought the Palantir dip. I'm loving this dip at $21. But it's like, do you know, and this I only learned from Arnaldo, but the ratios of any ratio, EV to free cash flow or price to sale, do you know the ratios that Palantir was at $21? Palantir at $21 was basically almost a sell. So why are you calling it a dip? So these guys now, these same guys whose portfolios of God have, because technically I wish they were maybe sounding some alarms and be like, hey guys, these companies are amazing, Nvidia is amazing, but look at its price to earnings, look at its EV to free cash flow, look at this and this metric. It is highly priced. This cannot last forever. So be careful. If you love the company, maybe take some profit. You know, CEOs are selling in our face, and all the while the YouTube people are still pumping stuff. So this is my issue with the YouTubers, especially the ones now pushing the FTX. They're probably getting a lot of money. FTX is sponsoring everyone. It just really feels scammy to me.
Money around.
And I still love the story of Bitcoin. Okay, but I feel like it's been corrupted by people like FTX and others. So there's a lot of cancer in the space, and I think we have a difficult 3 to 6 to 9 months to live in terms of crypto. That's my story, exactly. And let me say one more thing. I feel bad, but in the same way I don't, because, and maybe they had good intentions, but these two guys sponsored by FTX, Joseph Carlson and ticker symbol U, they did this thing where they revealed their portfolio, they showed their portfolio, and they were investing in a bubble, basically. Look, I guess we're all a bit invested in that, but they opened these accounts during the bubble. So they're putting so for example, someone like me, I'm like, oh, I'm getting a bit of comfort. These two guys, they seem smart. They're opening their public portfolio now, putting in, I don't know, 6 figures into high growth tech companies. I go, we're not in a bubble. So this is my problem. Okay, no, you can't really know necessarily the highs and lows, but if you're in a bubble and there's excessive PE ratios, PS ratios, etc., and you have 200,000 people following you on YouTube, like you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility, and I think it was dumb. And I'll say it was dumb of them to open these public 6-figure portfolios visible to everyone in the height of a bubble. That's why
I agree, but I don't agree. I defend Joseph Carlson because I do like his way of thinking, structuring the portfolios, and I would say he's very conservative.
How could you defend him when he's showing? Okay, I appreciate that he's showing us his thing, but he's down like 50K on, I don't know, 100,000. Investing in Amazon, Adobe, good companies, fine, but you're buying them at insane valuations. At 200,000 YouTube subscribers, it's your job to tell people, hey guys, I have 200K ready to invest, and
you can't
I'm going to invest 10K.
No, you can't pretend they knew that that would have crashed, because in the same way I see my two favorite investors, Robert Vinal and John Huber, are down substantially, probably even more than Joseph Carson. I would not blame anyone for being down. I would say Joseph is making a great job because he shares a lot of value and a very sound investment approach, and he never pumped crazy stupid companies, differently from many other YouTubers pumping unprofitable companies at crazy valuations with a nice story on top that maybe it's an opportunity. No, it is not. I don't agree with the idea of someone who's not skinning the game with crypto promoting a crypto company. I don't agree with that. But I see, I mean, it's a sponsorship, and of course they must pay you very well to convince you, even if you're not skinning the game.
That's my fear. I'm scared. They're showing us their $100,000 portfolio that's down 50%, but it doesn't matter because in the last 6 months they probably received 150K of sponsorships. That's what I'm scared of. So they're
exactly,
like,
that's the moral hazard.
Yeah, but you're showing me that you bought Adobe, Amazon, Netflix, and the rest of the BS 6 months ago at the height of the bubble. So why should I even listen to you? You didn't look at any ratios.
Amid all the YouTubers, if there is one guy I'm really confident in saying, okay, this guy knows exactly what he's doing, is Joseph Carson and Unrevalid Investing Daniel. They are the most conservative guys you find on YouTube. So I would not blame Joseph for buying Amazon, because actually what he's doing is keep investing by following the companies, and when the company has a misprice,
keep investing with the FTX sponsorship money. Not all of us are getting it. That's the problem. That's the difference.
For what it's worth, I still watch some of those people that have the sponsorships. I still kind of like Tom, but I kind of don't agree with him with some stuff. You know, it's like a respect, should I say?
Nothing's more beautiful than the Palantir story. But at the end of the day, you know, Tom Nash is telling me $21 is the dip. I love this dip. I'm buying this dip. Well, there's something to say of like, guys, everyone take it easy, because the price is going to come back to reality sooner or later. So take your time, buy a little bit, but you know what? It's going to come back.
Look, but so I'm buying companies that I expect to continue DCAing, even if it's down like 3 more years, because I like the company.
It's your responsibility when you look a video. It is true. It is not financial advice. At least when someone tells, okay, this is a dip, it's good that at least the person has a skin in the game. That is the very least. What I'm disappointed with is that you have people that clearly don't know how to do DCFs. They don't know how to deal with stock-based compensation. And they come out with a Palantir is worth $80 or even more. And that is not, the market was different. No, it's not. You are not able to do a proper DCF. Probably you never did it in a professional way. And you pretend to push this idea to people. It's true, it's not financial advice, but at least when you have a big following, you need to be more conservative, especially because you have a big following that trusts you. If all professionals were good, nobody would succeed in the market. So even for professionals, it's extremely difficult. Even if I worked as an analyst, I often have trouble in understanding intuitively, okay, this multiple is cheap or not. Imagine someone who never worked in the industry and have a big audience and push a way of thinking, because even if they don't say buy this, if a model is flawed, very flawed, and they see a DCF of 80, people intuitively say, oh, this is an opportunity, I must jump in before it's too late. And then you have a sort of moral responsibility. But since it's just moral, you have a moral hazard of posting shit because it is followed. If you just have valuable valuations that are conservative, the path of growth is way slower. Because, for instance, Stoccado always says, if I make videos on Microsoft, one of the best companies in the world, nobody cares. People want the story of the unprofitable trash.
I believe Bitcoin has true quality. Like I said, the narrative that I bought into, I believe it was true. But the sad part about all this, that because of a lot of bad players and too much debt and leverage, etc.,
There's
they're going to even take down. They're going to take down the good stuff.
I 100% agree. There's a lot of bad actors in the space. Even when you look at like what FTX is currently doing with those acquisitions, like that's exactly what crypto shouldn't be about, because you want to decentralize things basically for the most part. So a one man owning all sorts of platforms right there isn't, I think is not in
Exactly. It's not
in part with the mission of the crypto.
Overall, there is a lot of moral hazard in the space, both from the companies and from YouTubers. Because, for instance, YouTubers have very little downside in pumping a shit compared with the upside of following the trend waves. And once you are established, who cares of the past mistakes? I mean, there are 10 videos ago, and you don't really care. I saw that FTX has the insurance up to a certain point for clients. That is great for clients, but on the other hand, incentivize the company to push even harder. I mean, let's be clear. This company was born 3 years ago, was valued at
that's the most crazy thing.
30 billion cash. Meanwhile, Palantir, actually saving the world, is worth 20 billion right now. Apart from this, a company that grows so much in so little time, in my opinion, is not healthy a priori. Their headquarters is shady. They have also
at the Bahamas.
I saw from a video on YouTube, I'm sorry, I don't remember the right name, but the founder of FTX is actually spending a lot in politics, so they're also playing that game.
That's contradicting crypto as well, kind of.
That's the biggest red flag, by the way. That's the biggest red flag for me.
And we said before, when contradictions are huge red flags. So, of course, this is not a stable company. In 3 years, you can't be stable by definition. You are backed by SoftBank, which is the worst kind of supporter you can have, because I don't know if you know the guy from SoftBank. He built a huge investment fund called Vision Fund, probably the biggest in the world, with $100 billion investing in technology, and it was responsible for a part of the rally 2 years ago, because this fund is so big that actually moved the entire Nasdaq. And with private companies, his philosophy is very simple. You need 50 million to grow organically wealthy. I don't care. I give you 500 million. You conquer the world. I don't care of profits. You go, you conquer everything like they did with Uber. And once you conquer the space, then you think of profitability. But when things go bad, it becomes a problem, because after a certain point, you keep burning cash, and then you need to raise additional cash. And maybe nobody wants to give you that cash any longer. So these vicious circles of SoftBank is basically a mini Ponzi scheme, where he needs to keep financing companies that go immediately on IPO to get more money to finance other startups. And this goes through until the valuations are high. But if you can't put the companies doing IPOs any longer, this whole system breaks.
I mean, a lot of those companies eventually don't even reach any kind of profitability because their unit economics kind of suck.
Exactly. And I would add that the numbers are clearly not sustainable if they sponsor all the athletes in the world. They have the stadium. They support all YouTube finance people. It's like, okay, guys, we just need new people to get in. And rather than spending money on the product so that it spreads out by word. Now, Robinhood is not doing it well, but Robinhood was very smart, and the product itself was superior. FTX, apart from sponsoring everyone, apart from me and you.
You get an email in 1 hour. It's from FTX, sponsorship deal, 2 years, 200,000.
No, I wouldn't do that.
What's your response?
I wouldn't do that. I prefer to stay poor rather than incentivizing people doing, putting money in a company that is clearly not sustainable.